Hello my gorgeous ones, welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love affordable fashion and beauty. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. All right, you guys, I saw my beautiful friend Brittany, I'll pop her right here, do this video, and I know that she got this from another creator as well, but I'm just really gonna shout out Brittany because she's my friend. And this is a top 3 palettes in each category, or 3 palettes in each category that we own that we love. So now the categories are neutral, rainbow, monochromatic, mini, affordable drugstore, luxury, shimmer, and pastel. Now this was kind of hard because I was looking through my collection, deciding which ones. I'm like, I feel like I'm not picking a lot of my favorite palettes here, but that's because they didn't fit into these categories. So I wanted to add, I didn't add these, but if I were doing this again, I would add like grunge palettes, favorite warm tone palettes, favorite cool tone palettes, favorite maybe tropical palettes, because so many of these that I love in my collection didn't really fit. Neon, that would be a great one too. So anyway, I'm just gonna stick with this list as it is, and I'm gonna show you, maybe I have other ones in my collection I love too in these categories, but these are just 3 in each category that I wanna share with you guys today. All right, so for neutral, first up we have the Nude Prism palette by Lunar Beauty. So here is what she looks like in case you have never seen it. So I really love this palette for a lot of reasons. I have said so many times that if I were getting married again, I would use this one. And then I have another one I'm gonna show you guys that kind of maybe trumped that maybe I would use it instead. But for the longest time, I said this would be the perfect bridal palette here. And I love this one because you do have cool and warm, you have browns in here, but then you have a lot of like rosy pink leaning tones as well. I really love the formula of these shimmers here in the middle. They're very like squishy, metallic-y, very beautiful in the eyes. This palette also just is easy to work with. It's not extremely pigmented, but it does build up really nicely, so you can't really mess up with it either. So really, really love that one. Now this is the one that's kind of maybe taken the place where if I were getting married, I would maybe use this one again. And it is the I Need a Nude palette from Natasha Denona. I am so surprised about how much I love this palette. I thought, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I do love neutrals, but they're not that exciting to me. But every time I sit down and use this, I'm like, dang, this look is pretty. And it's just, again, kind of like a no-brainer one. It blends itself. It's perfect for every day, perfect for on the job. Any occasion, I feel like this is really, really perfect for. So definitely a favorite now of mine, neutral wise. And then maybe my most favorite is the Nearly Neutral from Glaminatrix. I love this because basically for what it says, what it's called, nearly neutral. Like it is neutral, but you do kind of get away with these like little hints of green in here and more like a silvery blue in here too. And so like it's neutral, but like it has some pizzazz to it. And I just think that the formula is gorgeous and really, I get like excited when I use this one, and I don't always get excited for neutrals. All right, next up we have Rainbow. And so I chose the Culture palette from Juvia's place. And I mean, this is probably the biggest palette that I own that's the most rainbow-like these days. Juvia's, I think most of us know that formula. If you don't and you never tried it, I highly recommend it. Very, very affordable brand as well. But I love how this is laid out, that you've got the monochromatic rose in here. Like it's rainbow, but then it also has some neutrals in it too. So I think it's like the ultimate rainbow palette. Possibilities are absolutely endless with this palette. Then I also really love the Tropicolor palette by Sydney Grace in collaboration with the Fancy Face. Now this isn't like on the nose rainbow. It actually probably could have fit into the other category I was mentioning, like what about tropical palettes? It would definitely be in my top 3 tropical palettes as well. But you don't have like really the red, but I look at this and I see colors of the rainbow, and it's very like happy, like a rainbow. And I mean, quality with these is So good, so good. I love Cindy Grace's quality. And then the other one I decided to do is the Michaela palette from Glamlite. This is kind of similar to the subculture in that you have rainbow colors in here, very bright, colorful, but then you also have like these neutrals over here too. I think the eye tricks you when you look at this and you just see this as a super colorful palette. But I mean, when you do this, this is like a whole big neutral palette over here. But again, I think, I don't know, I kind of like rainbow palettes that have like these more earthy, like anchor tones in there as well, instead of just fully rainbow. So maybe I'm cheating on the rainbow palette, but these are my picks. Okay, for monochromatic, this was kind of hard for me because I realized I don't have a ton of monochromatic palettes, but I do have some and they're really good. So this palette, you guys, I mentioned it before in, it was like alternatives for the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. And I pulled this one out and I recommended it. Not that it fully encapsulates like all of the shades in the Yucca palette, but similar tones of greens. And you guys, this palette is like $6 from Glam and it performs so well. I'm not always a glitter person, but when a glitter performs like a higher end product, it can look really pretty and not cheap. So this one performs like that. It's so good. And just look at the tones. So these are like my favorite tones of greens. So that is an excellent monochromatic palette. Then we have one side of the Nomad Verona Amor y Muerte palette, Love and Death. So this side is obviously not monochromatic, but this side is. And I really enjoy this. I don't pull it out all the time because I don't always do like a whole like monochromatic look, but I do really like this if I'm gonna go for reds or like rosy pinks, but then it also works for blushes as well. So I love that it's kind of like a 2-in-1. And then on the eyes, I actually have two palettes today and I'm in love with this eye look today, you guys. Like, it is so good and both are really affordable. Now, this isn't in the affordable palettes, even though it's a BH Cosmetics palette, RIP. I mean, now they're with Makeup Revolution, but they're basically dead now, sadly. They were one of my favorite affordable brands, but I got this one for $4.99 at TJ Maxx. If you see it there, it is so good. It's the Absinthe palette. And I have another palette on. I'll show you what that one is when I get to the affordable palettes. But I have on today, let's see, I have Urban Legend right here. Is this green? And then I have another Sip right here, is more in the inner corner. And then I used Blackout for the under eye. And then I think, no, not Trippy, Unleashed Spirit closer here. Like, it is excellent. It is $4.99 and it's so good. But that's in the monochromatic palettes. Now next we have minis. So I don't know if this is cheating or not. I was like, what exactly counts as a mini unless it's labeled a mini? Now these are not the small, teeny tiny Natasha Denonas, but they are smaller. And to me, they're mini. I mean, they're 5 hands and they're small. So I'm counting them as mini, but this is the Fez palette. And I just love this color story so much. I think it is a perfect little fall mini palette. You can go very like sunflower look with this. You can go like mustardy yellows. I love the gold shimmer in here. And I do really like that pop of blue. And then this is the Alloy palette. And it's not exciting, but I do think like if you're just gonna grab a mini, to me, minis are more like, you don't wanna think, because there's not a lot of options in here. It's just like you need a look, you need to slap it on, or you need something to travel with. And I mean, this, you're gonna get a nice look out of this one with that. And then I think this counts, I don't know, it's the Dark Edit from Viseart. So you can tell, or Viseart, I'm never really sure if it's Viseart or Viseart. I mean, you can tell it's super tiny in my palm. The little pans are really tiny too. I love this palette. You guys, you'll probably see this pop up. I plan on doing another like spooky season palette video. And to me, I always look at this and I see Halloween, not just fall, but like specifically Halloween. I mean, if you cover this up, I think you just see fall, but something about adding the pink in there, the green, the gold, then it just becomes like a little spooky season palette. And I really, really like it. It's my favorite Viseart palette for sure, the Dark Edit, and I think it's mini. Okay, so for luxury, I wasn't really sure what to include in here because I don't have any like Dior palettes, Gucci eyeshadow palettes, Tom Ford, any of that, because quite frankly, I think that they're ridiculous. Anytime anyone like swatches them or has them on their eyes or like, look how beautiful this is, I'm like, girl, that is dusty, that is pale, that looks like $2 garbage bin makeup. So like I mean, not to knock all luxury makeup, I have some highlighters and lippies that are high-end luxury like that, but eyeshadows, no. So really I was just like, what are my just more expensive brands? So for me, that is Natasha Denona, I don't have Patrick Ta anymore, Pat McGrath, and Adept. So the Utopian Dream palette. You guys, this makes me so sad because I was collecting the motherships. I had all but one until the most recent came out, and I have all but two, and I just don't, the new ones don't excite me. So it makes me sad because I wanted to collect them all eventually, but I'm like, why buy something that doesn't appeal to me? So I kind of stopped collecting them. But Utopian Dream is one of my favorites. I really love all of my motherships. I love Divine Rose too. I love Bronze Seduction because of the red shimmer in there. But I just always like my looks the best with Utopian Dream. I did not pay full price for this. No, I never ever will. I paid about $75 to $80 for this. So I think it is, the motherships are my most expensive in my collection for sure. But yeah, I really, really like that one. Then next most expensive is the Sumerian Sunset from Adept. I have a video on this where I do three looks, and then I've since used it since then, and it's just, spoiler alert, this is going to be in my tops for the year countdown. I love it so much. I just see so much use out of this. I see every single holiday, well, yes, I do see all holidays, but all seasons in this. You can get a little bit more toned down looks, even though there's special shades in here, or you can go really over the top with them. There's warm and cool. I just love this one. And then also the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, as I was talking about before. I really love this palette. I think it's worth the money. I get a lot of use out of this one too. I see it being very appealing for a lot of people. Probably my favorite of hers. Yeah, I mean, I really love that I Need a Nude too. But this one's a little bit more versatile as far as different looks that you can get. But yeah, these tones speak to me, so yeah. Okay, now we have all shimmer palettes, and I had a little bit more than I realized. So I had to leave some out that I really, really like, but, and I say shimmer, like special shades, multi-chromes. So we have the Northern Lights palette from Simply Posh Cosmetics. This was my first all shimmer palette, I believe, or all special shades. I was blown away. I think I purchased this myself. I think I did, I'm pretty sure. And then I fell in love with the brand and since have every palette since then. And I am on their PR now and get them sent, but I definitely started out buying from the brand. And I was just like, what? I was so blown away. I was very new to multi-chromes. And I wanna say this was only like $30 back then, which is unheard of now. The markup has been insane, but it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And it made me fall in love with multi-chromes. Then I picked the Radioactive palette from Gourmande Girls. I was like, do I go Radioactive or the Ethereal palette? I love them both. The Ethereal palette is more pastels. It is like if you need a pastel special shades like Easter palette, that is the one to go with. But I love this one in here, the Electro Love. I love a red shimmer, so that's what kind of puts it over the top for me. Very shifty, special, beautiful formula. And then I chose the Minka palette. Now it's not an all shimmer palette, but it pretty much is. These are the only two mattes, and then you've got all these beautiful metallics in here. This was my favorite Adept for a long time. Now I'm like, oh, it's hard because I love this one, but I love the Arrow and the Sumerian Sunset. But this one really has my heart just because I love the like icy tones of this. I love the pinky shades that like shift green. It's so pretty. So, so, so pretty. Now the last category is pastel. So we have the Candy Skies palette from Laura Lee Los Angeles. This is absolutely like pastel dream here. I think this is such a good palette. I really like too that even though it is pastel, you've got a couple that kind of punch it up where you can go a little bit deeper. I think it's really fun. I think you can do really, really pretty looks with this. I wish she would kind of branch out and do more like that. You guys, this Juvia's Place, Garden of Juvia's is such a good palette. Like I see this, I see Easter. These shimmers in here are so sparkly. They are just like, they hit the light and it's like sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. Really beautiful. The mattes in here perform really well too. If you need an affordable pastel palette, absolutely recommend it. And then my last one was the Glamlite Ice Cream Dream palette. I love this one because my daughter and I both have this palette and it's so cute that when I see her using it. And kind of like the Michaela palette, you have, it's like a half and half. It's half pastels and half neutrals over here. Warm neutrals mainly, but I really like that Glamlite does that because it makes the palettes a little bit more versatile and you can get a ton of use out of it. And I really, really enjoy this palette as well. But that is it, you guys. I really enjoyed doing this. I'm so glad that I saw Brittany's video and it inspired me to do this as well. Again, if I may just do my own later on where I add the other categories that I missed here that I really wanted to include some of my palettes in. So be on the lookout for that and maybe you guys can participate too. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping. Bye.